Comrade Supreme Commander-in-Chief, military units of the Third Army, conducting an offensive in the northern direction, completed the liberation of the city of Siversk, thereby creating the conditions for further development of the offensive towards the town of Sloviansk. Russia's defense ministry, on December 11th, released footage showing its troops triumphantly hoisting national flags in the city of Seversk, located within the Donetsk region. President Vladimir Putin praised the country's armed forces following reports from military commanders that Russian troops had successfully taken control of Seversk. He commended their efforts and described the achievement as a key moment. Addressing senior military officials, Putin declared that Russian troops now fully hold the strategic initiative in the conflict. He emphasized that this momentum provides Russia with greater control over battlefield developments and strengthens its overall strategic position in the region.
I note good momentum in all areas. The liberation of the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics, as well as the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions, is proceeding steadily and rhythmically, in accordance with your plans and those of the General Staff, and the strategic initiative is entirely in the hands of the Russian armed forces. By creating this fortified area in the Seversk area and in the city itself, the enemy hoped that we would become bogged down in the assault on the city and thus be able to hold back our advance. The enemy failed, but you have achieved everything you planned and intended. The liberation of the city of Siversk and the successful offensive operations in this direction significantly advance a new, successful, I have no doubt about it, offensive in other directions, expelling Ukrainian armed forces from our territory and restoring peaceful life in the Donbass.
Military commanders reported that they successfully outflanked Ukrainian forces and cut off key supply routes leading into Seversk. According to officials, this maneuver isolated Ukrainian defenders and ultimately paved the way for Russian troops to take control of the city. During a briefing with President Vladimir Putin, Russian commanders described Seversk as a critical stepping stone on the path toward capturing the nearby city of Sloviansk. They emphasized that securing Seversk provides a vital tactical advantage for advancing deeper into eastern Ukraine. Russia has claimed that the fall of Seversk has effectively flattened the front across this part of Donetsk. The government says this shift will free up significant numbers of Russian troops, allowing them to focus on launching the next phase of their military offensive. However, Ukrainian military officials have denied Russia's claims, insisting that the city of Seversk remains under Ukrainian control. They stated that their defensive positions are intact and that fighting continues on the outskirts, challenging Moscow's version of events. Ukraine also asserted that its troops successfully destroyed several small Russian units attempting to infiltrate the city. According to Kiev, these failed incursions demonstrate that Russian forces have not yet established full control despite their public declarations. In a statement, the Task Force East unit of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said, and I quote, "In the Sloviansk direction, the city of Seversk remains under the control of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The enemy is trying to infiltrate Seversk in small groups, taking advantage of unfavorable weather conditions, but most of these units are being destroyed on the approaches." Unquote. News agencies reported that they were not able to independently verify Russia's claim that Seversk had fallen, as intense fighting continued across the wider region and made confirmation difficult. The city of Seversk is widely regarded as the eastern gateway to the Sloviansk-Kramatorsk defense belt, a crucial approach route into one of Ukraine's most heavily fortified zones in the Donbass. Its location on the front line makes it a key access point for any force trying to push deeper into Ukraine's eastern strongholds. Its reported capture is seen as opening more direct access to the major Ukrainian strongholds of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, reducing the layers of buffer settlements that previously stood in the way. For Russian planners, this shift could make future offensives toward these cities faster and more logistically efficient. With the battle lines moving, Russian forces can now potentially pressure Sloviansk from the north while also threatening Kramatorsk from positions further to the south. This creates the risk of a pincer effect, forcing Ukrainian commanders to defend on multiple axes at the same time. The city of Seversk had formed part of Ukraine's so-called Fortress City Line, a network of urban strongpoints designed to slow, bleed, and disrupt an advancing army. Breaking through this line at Seversk may compel Ukraine to fall back on new defensive positions closer to Sloviansk and Kramatorsk. Russian forces say multiple cauldrons have formed across the front, claiming that several Ukrainian units have been encircled and cut off from key supply routes. In their narrative, these pockets of troops are now under mounting pressure, facing shortages and limited options to regroup or withdraw. According to these reports, Ukrainian troops are also said to be trapped or heavily constrained in parts of the Donetsk, Kharkiv, and Zaporizhia regions. If accurate, such situations could force Kiev into tough decisions about where to commit reserves and which sectors to prioritize in order to avoid larger losses.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.